Hello, thanks very much for joining me. As you can see in the vise, I've got a Freestyle Wet Fly. I used to be scared of tying these because I would look at all the traditional ones and think, oh, I'll never be able to tie flies like that. But actually, do you really need to? I think you can just make up your own, and that's what I've done here. So let's get into it. Okay, in the vise then is a Hanak 230 barbless hook. It's at size 12 and it's a medium wire hook. The thread I'm going to be tying with today is the Vivas. It's the E01 and as you can see it's black. So first thing is plenty of wax on the thread. And we're going to start just in behind the eye. Now, I'm using my rat's tail just to guide my thread up here. And I'm going to bring it to just before I want to finish. And take my rat's tail away with my snips. Another couple of turns just to capture that in. So, I'm going to add a tail to this fly, as you've seen in the little opening section. And what I'm going to use is an old bit of English partridge from my cape, which if I pick it up it may fall to pieces, but here it is. It really is on its last legs. And I've got one of the old feathers that I use for very little else. What I want to do is capture in some of the brown, quite a lot of the mottled. It's going to be a big bushy tail. So I'm taking nearly half the feather. Try and rip it off at a 45-degree angle. It's difficult when you're taking that much, but you can just realign it in your fingertips till you're happy that the tips are marrying up to your satisfaction. I'm not at the minute. This is all going a bit pear-shaped, but it's a rough looking fly, so I'm going to settle on that. Now there is a couple of, just can't leave it alone. There is a couple of bits just sticking out that I'm not happy with, but I'm going to go with it. I want it to protrude about 1.5 centimeters past the bend of the hook. And then I can capture that in. Just making sure my thread's in line with my barb. I want to take away some of my waste here, not at all though. And I'm going to cut at a diagonal so that I can slowly taper towards the front. Just tidy that up a little bit and then come back. Okay, I want to add a rib to this fly and I'm going to use some red. This is the soft wire small in red, as you can see. And I've already taken a little bit off to save a bit of time. So I don't want it coming all the way to the eye. I want to be about 1/8. If I do it on the top actually, that's where my wire rib's going. So I can keep the body fairly uniformal, but leaving plenty of room at the front for where I'm going to do my hackling. So I've caught that in, and the dubbing I'm going to use, you must be sick of the sight of this stuff. It's the Trout Stalker, and it's the Tweaked Natural Blend that I use. But if you don't have that, Squirrel Dub or any other dub that you fancy would do the job. So, let's get this dubbed on. I can see little bits of stuff from a bench sneaking onto my dubbing. I suppose it just all adds to the effect. I'm not going to be too precious about it. It is a fairly rough looking fly. So I've got a fair amount of dubbing on there. If I've got to remove some, it's no problem. And then I'm going to try and build up a nice even body. Maybe a little bit of taper, not much though. Then with my rib, I'll come in the opposite direction. And I'm looking to get a minimum of 4 turns of rib in. If you get more, or you want it a bit closer wraps with a wire, it's not a problem. Again, the clue's in the name, freestyle, you can do what you like. Once you've got the basic premise, you can pretty much make this up. You don't have to have a dubbing body. You could have just a thread body with a wire rib, or, you know, the world is your oyster, really. This is just to give you an idea. Okay, so I've got a fairly packed in body there. I'm going to get some wax on my thread before I catch in my first wing. And what I'm using for the wing is just this old badger cape. I've taken some of the bigger feathers up the top here, which are not much good for crunchers and stuff. Okay, I've already prepared a feather here, and it's one of the larger feathers from the cape, and I've left a little tag there just to capture that in. Now I want to tie it in with the outside facing me. So I'll just catch that in there, and make sure you add some wax to your thread. Just makes the job a wee bit easier. Now I want to get the maximum number of turns I can out of this feather. It just gives it that bushy feel at the front. The hardest part's getting this first turn in. So just take your time, bring it all round, and it starts to build up nicely for you, just like that. Once you've brought it round to the maximum amount of turns you think, and I think I've chanced my arm with that as much as I may. So I'm just going to capture it in now. Then it'll just pull away. Remember to keep tension on your thread when you do that. I always mention it because if you don't do it, it'll just pull away and your thread will come undone and you'll cry into your giant pillow for the rest of the evening. So just moving that back. Just agitate the fibres a little bit with your fingers. Next, I'm going to add my secondary hackle, and it's going to be this little blue one here. I'm not quite sure where I got it. I think a lot of my friends give me bits and bobs that they've got plenty of, so I'm not quite sure where this one came from. I think it may have been Steve Cullen. If it wasn't, apologies to whoever did give it to me. So I've already taken a feather out of the packet, and I've heavily waxed my thread at the front here, and I'm going to capture that in. Now I don't want to have a lot of blue, so what I'm looking for is one full rotation of the hackle, and if I can get that in, I'll be happy. So just a hint of blue really. So here we go. Let's see if I can get a rotation without it springing off or misbehaving or some other thing. I think this is what puts people off tying these kind of flies. It can be a bit hit and miss. So I've just caught the tail end off my hackle, and I'm getting a couple of wraps in. I'm going to pull everything back out the way. Try and get my thread in front of that raggedy end. And it's snapped off in my hands actually, which is handy. So I'm licking my thumb and forefinger in my left hand, and I'm going to come in and just sweep everything back out the way. Now I've already built quite a prominent head there, and I don't want it to be much bigger than that. So again, I'll lick my thumb and forefinger, sweep it back, everything out the way, and I'm going to put a couple of half hitches in. If you're already a fly tying genius and can use a whip finish tool, now's your time to shine. Then I can come in with my snips and remove my waste. To finish the fly off, I'm going to use some resin. You can use varnish if you wish, or super glue. I just find it easier to use the little Solaris brush, and make sure you work it all the way around the fly. Like so. So I don't consider myself a particularly good fly tyer, and that's why I think it's important that people know you don't have to be particularly good to tie decent flies. You've just got to have a go, and have a go with the materials you've got. You don't need to go to the shops and buy lots of different stuff. You can make do with some feathers that you've got. I mean, a lot of the stuff that I use have come from the generosity of other people. So don't be afraid to give it a go. Get some feathers out, get what you've got, and then just go wild. So once that's cured off, I can come in with my brush, tease out a few of the scruffy dubbing bits, and then just work the hackle to the direction I want it to go. And that's it, ready for the fly box. Thanks very much for watching, and I'll see you again next time. Don't forget to subscribe. If you want to make them up, that's how to do it.